REED-BBS, BBS, Blackbird Sugar, Bachelor's in Boxing Studies, Televisión, Fred Sanford of the Fistic Arts. He's back! The Notorious CONOR MCGREGOR. CONOR MCGREGOR, the one and only, the man that does the George Jefferson, the little gangster pimp stroll. CONOR MCGREGOR, the one and only, man. He's fighting COWBOY CERRONE, Conor versus Cowboy, January 18th, UFC 246. They're going to be fighting at 170 pounds, and it's going to be a 5-round fight. But before I swan dive a little bit deeper into that, want to encourage you to subscribe, comment on the fight, man. Comment on the downtime Conor's had. Comment on the likelihood of him beating Cowboy. Is Cowboy a sufficient enough opponent for you? I'll respond to any and all comments. Sharing is caring, and remember, love tap and or bitch slap that like button for your boy. But yeah, man, Conor, he's putting the proper number 12 on the shelf. He just go sit over there real quick. Daddy'll be back. Make this last little bit of combat sports money real quick before he goes full bore into business, I guess. This is his first UFC bout in the last 3 years. He's had one UFC bout, I should say, in the last 3 years, that being his loss to Khabib, October 2018. You see the poster behind me, Conor Khabib from October of that year. Conor's last win in the UFC was over Eddie Alvarez, November of 2016. Of course, Conor, UFC champion at 55 and at 45. Man's record is 21-4, 9-2 in UFC. After Cowboy, he's got a pretty lofty, and everything with Conor is lofty. He doesn't do anything half-assed, and this comeback would be no different. So assuming he gets by Cowboy, he then wants to face Nate Diaz again or Jorge Masvidal spring-summer of 2020. And then, if he's successful there against Diaz or Masvidal, he wants to revisit the guy behind me, the poster behind me, Khabib Nurmagomedov, in Moscow, Russia, no less, by the end of 2020. You talk about some lofty-ass shit. That's it. Conor, hey, he lets them nuts hang. He puts them on the table. He says mine is bigger, and he's willing to show it. He's willing to prove it. You can't do nothing but respect that. Speaking of nuts, Donald Cowboy Cerrone, 36-13, 23-10 record in the UFC. There's no traces of bitch in Cowboy at all. You can judge the man by his record all you want to. Yeah, he's a flawed fighter, but he gives his fucking all each and every time he's in the fucking octagon. He's an action hero, man. He should have his own action figure created and sold by UFC. He's like the Arturo Gatti. He's like the Mickey Ward of MMA. Excuse me. My man, he's got the most wins in UFC history with 23. He's got the most finishes in UFC history with 16. He has the most post-fight bonuses in UFC history with 18. He has the most knockdowns in UFC history with 20. And the most KOs via kick in UFC history with 7. Cowboy, man, he's a threat anywhere, but the truth of the matter is he is susceptible in his stand-up game and early. The guys who've gotten him, they've usually gotten him with punches, with strikes, fairly early in his fights. He can be hit, he can be hurt, he can be stopped. And that's a clear and a huge edge, a huge feather in Conor's cap. Like that's what Conor does. He breaks you down early via strikes and stand-up. That's what he does. So you have to favor Conor big time. I think he's already a 3-1 favorite, and by the time they've done some UFC countdown shows and Conor's talked some shit and they've had some pressers, yeah, he could be as much as a 4 or 5-1 favorite, man. However, that said, if Conor cannot get Cowboy early, if he can't get him out of there early, man, this is a 5-rounder, and Conor has never been known for his cardio. So if he can't get Cowboy out early, look out. Cowboy's a superior wrestler, and he's a submission guy, man. And there's no fucking way in hell Conor's improved his ground game during this downtime. But, we'll get deeper into the fight itself and the matchup when it gets closer to January 18th. Hey, The game needs Conor McGregor in it. The UFC is better when Conor McGregor fights. UFC fight nights are different when it's Conor McGregor on the bill. So, welcome back, Conor. REED-BBS, BBS, Blackbird Sugar, Bachelor's in Boxing Studies, Televisión, Fred Sanford of the Fistic Arts. When all is said and done, there's nothing left to say or do.